What's up, everybody? It's your girl, and
I'm your boy Ray. What's happening, y'all?
I don't know why you feel like you need to say I'm your boy Ray when you always have something to say about me saying I'm your girl. Like, I'm for
Hey,
real their girl, but you only become their boy.
I'm not their boy.
Are you?
Come on, chat. Let them know. Let
Let
her
us
know.
know, because he don't even really want to be here if we're being honest.
Nah, I'm doing it. This is what we do. It's been a minute.
What's been happening?
It's been a lot happening. Life is lifing. But you know what? We're back stronger than ever, and we about to give y'all some content. Hopefully you guys appreciate it. Still people showing love, saying, hey, I watched the podcast and I'm learning about not only y'all, but getting a different perspective on parenthood and marriage and all the other things.
Not that we are experts by any means, and not that we have it all together by any means. It's just our experiences, what we've lived, what we're going through,
And sharing it with the folks.
and sharing it with you all, and just trying to learn from each other. So one thing that we can say, however difficult, is that we're approaching 25 years.
We are.
Like
25 years.
Half of our lives.
25 years?
Almost. We're approaching. We're not there yet. But that says a lot. Like today, that's a lot. Speaking of cheers, what are you drinking?
A little lemonade action. It's homemade lemonade.
This is fresh lemonade.
Freshly squeezed.
Your girl freshly squeezed some lemonade.
It's hitting.
Yeah.
Nice for the summertime.
Yeah. I'm like, I made some fresh lemonade for a little vodka.
Hey, that's
yeah.
lemonade.
Oh, I'm glad you can enjoy. Yeah.
So
I'm drinking my usual seltzer sparkling water,
cranberry.
and cranberry. Yeah. That's my thing. A little refreshing. We're going to get out, so I need to hydrate a bit before we step out this evening.
So welcome back to another episode.
Yes.
Before we get started, I'd like to give a shout out to Affiliated Wear. If you're looking for a nice summertime cool shirt to match the J's, you want to hit up affiliatedwear.com.
So anyway, where have we been? As you can see, our setup is a little bit different. So one of the things that's delayed some of our conversations is we moved to a different location. As you all may remember in earlier conversations, we've moved from Ohio, he 3 years ago, me 2 years ago this year. And we were at the same location. We're living in the metro city, which we've not done ever. Even in Columbus, we didn't live downtown. So during this move, one of the things that we decided to do was live in the city just to see what urban life is like. And it's been an experience.
Urban life is different. Yeah.
If it's this city or if it's urban life, and that comes with some pros and cons. That being said, we were living previously for 3 years, and we were like, let's check out a different neighborhood. And so we moved. We spent some time at home due to some family issues, and I had a death in my family, and then we have our home in Ohio. And so trying to manage that and turn it over, it was being rented and just some different things. So we spent some time at home, and then we were traveling out of state for work, and then we were back. There was a lot going on, and then trying to get settled into our new space, and then also just acclimating to the neighborhood. So that's why we have stepped away for a bit. Work schedules, his schedule has also been crazy at work with some developments that's going on there. We do not anticipate any further delay, because my goal for this has been since the beginning, and I'm curious what your goal is, because I talked about it for a while and it took a long time to get him in the seat. But for me, it's just to my earlier point, we're approaching 25 years. And while we are not perfect, one of the things that we've always said, we've been committed to trying to keep our family together. And I always say we move as a unit. It's been challenging. There's been some good times, there's been some bad times, and there's been plenty of things that really could have broken us up, right? And there's been some times where we had been broken up. But through it all, here we are at 25 years. So we just kind of want to just share that experience with you, because as I said, been together half of our lives, been married, and you don't see that a lot. And in fact, I've read they're calling it, I think it's gray divorce, where people in their 50s and 60s are getting divorced now more than ever.
Wow.
When it's usually that generation who really is like, we're thugging this out.
Yeah.
But people are divorcing and we're still hanging in there. So that's why we're here. That's why I'm here, because I think family is important. I think Black family and units are important.
For sure.
And if there's anything that we've experienced or that we can share that can help you, that's why I want to be here to talk about it. But I also think it's a good space for you and I to communicate in a different way.
And shout out to those that are married 20 plus years. I think once you cross that 20-year mark, you officially an OG in the business, right?
In the business. And it is a business because it is a contract.
Yeah. So anyway, so
Essentially.
shout out to those folks because it takes a special individuals, plural, to make it work through the roller coaster. Life is a roller coaster, and your marriage is included in that life because there's a lot of distractions outside of trying to maintain a marriage, whether it be kids, family, work, that could put a strain on it. But you got some questions. You want to jump right in
Yeah.
there?
So I did ask the question already. What do you envision this podcast to be?
I just think I vision a podcast being able to help people ultimately, right? I feel like our experience, again, it's just our experience, but I feel like every marriage goes through ups and downs and they have their own individual experience. Some of the stuff that we go through, people will be able to relate to, some of it not. But I think if you've been in the game a long time, some of the things that you'll realize that, hey, wow, I dealt with that too. And there's more similarities than there are differences,
For
right?
sure.
And so I wanted to be able to help people. And I feel like since the advancement of social media, we're able to put our story out there and just talk to the folks. And we just need the folks to talk back to us. This could really turn into something that helps people long term.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah.
So where no matter what stage you're in, if you're married a year to 7 years to 20, 25 years,
There's something to learn from
Yeah.
it. And there's also something from us. That's why it's important. Make comment. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us your experience because we're still learning. I'm always trying to grow and to be just a better person, a better wife, a better mom, and just learn from other people's experiences too. So hopefully you learn something from us, learning from you. But yes. So anyway, during the break, we already kind of talked about what changed, our housing situation. You got a lot going on with work, a lot of travel, all of those things. We've kind of settled into a new neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood. But in terms of our marriage and health or parenting, do you feel like since the last time we've sat together what aspects of your life do you feel like changed or evolved or anything, if anything?
I just think it's decision making, right? As a marriage, as a unit, you're constantly making decisions on what's next. And I feel like we go through life in stages and one door closes, another one opens. And it's just that. The only thing that's changed is the address. For me, it's still business as usual as far as work goes. I think as far as our relationship goes, we're still in a space where we're still able to grow, learn, share with people. And that's just where we are. You know?
Yeah, so for me, I think what's changed is, as I mentioned, we moved to a different neighborhood. This neighborhood feels a little more walkable for me. I'm able to get out. We're right on the lake, so I'm able to go to Lake Shore Park where I'm walking regularly.
Lake is dope.
Yes, the lake is absolutely beautiful in the morning, so I'm able to enjoy that a bit more. There's lots of shops, coffee shops, cute little coffee shops, and boutiques that are in the area. So just getting outside and walking more. The weather has finally broken. It took until the end of June, and it was just 2 weeks ago that it hit maybe 85 degrees and higher. Next week, I think it's going to get upper 80s and 90s again. But I say to him, I want to be outside because it doesn't last long here, and it took a long time to get here. I was wearing a sweatshirt outside 2 weeks ago in the morning because it's like 50, 60 degrees when we woke up in June. It's not like that in Ohio. While the weather is really similar, it just feels a lot more like summer in June. So I think that's changed. And it also feels different here. With you, I think you manage change a bit differently and maybe better than I, because I've been a little more anxious about this new space. There's a lot of traffic here. There's a lot of people. We're really close to a lot of festivals that have been happening. So with everything that's happening at home, with our house, and then here, I've been a little bit on edge. So I feel like I'm changing. And back to my point about I'm reading the book Let Them by Mel Robbins and finishing it up. And I just have to keep reminding myself and practicing, let it go, let them. And let me be settled in, this is different and this is temporary. This isn't going to be how I'm feeling all the time. Yes. Yeah. Just change. But earlier, this wasn't a part of the conversation, but when we were talking about marriage and 25 years and contract, we had a conversation in the car, the contract thing, and I raised it to you about curious what you all think too, should marriages be time limited? You have to renew them over at a certain period of time. So you could say, let's do this for 2 years, or let's do this for 5 years. What do you think about that?
That's different. You can take that
Yes,
part out
yes,
and say
yes.
this is a 2-year trial run.
Yes, I didn't even think about
And
like all of the all of the vows,
yeah,
like
yeah.
how would those change? But just on a high level, there should be a time
part of
limit.
the vows. How would it change? Plus, what's all included in that? Does everybody go their separate ways after 2 years, and you keep what you keep, but there's always
Yeah.
that intermingling of finances, assets.
Yes.
So I don't know. It's an interesting concept. It's been like that since the dawn of age, and I think why not, man? Why not? Set it up for 2 years, 5 years, whatever. And if it works out, you sign another one.
Yeah.
If
You
not,
can extend it or
yeah,
file.
some people might go for that.
Yeah. Or you're like, oh, it was nice, but I'm ready to do something
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
It was nice. It was fun. Whatever.
So let's talk about that a little bit. I really wasn't going to go there. That is not even a part of my cue cards. But like when it came up, I'm just like, let's talk about it a little bit. And I have to ask him because, again, this is not his thing. He's not, while he likes to talk. And he just said just moments before we even started this podcast or started recording today, he mentioned that he's a social butterfly. So while he likes to chit chat, he doesn't like to necessarily be questioned. Questions are annoying to him, and he's just not into being in the hot seat. But we're here to help people. That's why we're here, and transparency and honesty. And it's also opening lines of communication that maybe we would not otherwise step into a little bit. So it's all good. But so not to pressure you, but I'm just curious, thinking about over our 25 years, when do you think, or would you have ever thought, or at what stage would you have thought?
Exercise that?
I'm tapping out.
Man.
When do you think that would have been exercised?
I don't
most?
think I would have. If I'm being
Really?
honest, nah, I wouldn't have.
Ever?
Just the thing, man. I grew up, again, we're being vulnerable here, right? And so I gotta say that because you start talking about family members and other people's decisions in life,
Sure.
and it affects our decisions, mainly our parents' decisions affects our decisions. And so I never wanted our son to be without his father in his life 24/7 growing up. I know how that feels, right? And so I didn't want that. Although as a kid, you don't really know how ins and outs. It impacts you. You don't know the ins and outs of your parents' relationship. You just know that they're separated. As you get older and you start to get into relationships, you realize it is a thing. People don't work out. And it's okay that people don't work out.
Yeah.
That doesn't negate the fact that I felt the way I felt as a little kid growing up. But as far as myself, I didn't want our son to grow up without me being present and having him do the stepfather thing. And even though there's nothing wrong with that, if people don't work out, I just didn't want that. That was my preference. And with that in the back of my mind, it made me work a little bit harder at life, at things, at the marriage, at forgiveness, at understanding people are people, just all the things. You got to grow up. And we was young when we got married. So it wasn't easy, but it was a pill that I knew ahead of time that I was swallowing that pill, and that was my choice.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. Win or lose, or however people feel about it, that was just my decision. Everybody got to make their own.
And
that was just a choice I made. Once I made the choice, it wasn't no going back. So if you swallow a pill, what you gonna do? Throw it back up? Once you swallow the pill, it's over. You dealing with whatever comes after that.
Sure.
And so that's why when I made the decision that we was getting married and proposed to you, it wasn't no going back. I wasn't thinking, if this don't work out, that I don't think like that. I'm always the glass half full person. You know what I mean?
Not at the beginning, and you're right. We didn't talk about what we want our futures to look like. We really thrust ourselves into this whole thing, if we're being honest. But additionally, while I get that you're saying you recognized early on and that was your desire, as was mine. And I think I can even remember saying, we're in a relationship, we have a child, we plan to be together, we're going to put our best foot forward to make this work. But even after that, leading up to that, We almost didn't get to the altar. We had some
Yeah, yeah.
conversations about, what is this going to be? And I even remember saying to my parents, y'all going to be upset. And I remember they were like, it's a lot of money out there, but you got to do what you got to do. But we did it and we worked through it. But even after that, and this is what I'm talking about, like, what is your mindset when I say to you, like, when would you have exercised the exit?
I wouldn't
plan?
have. Yeah, I wouldn't
But
have.
how can you honestly say that when there was a period that we did separate and we did live in separate places? To me, that was a time where that certainly would have been executed had that been an option, right? There would have been no reason not to. And I know
I think
that,
there's always times where it could be exercised, but your question,
that was my question.
yeah, your question was,
when would you have exercised that option?
and I'm saying I wouldn't have. Like, it didn't come across my mind to exercise that or to get out. Like,
even when we were separated.
Even then, because it's a reality check. It's a reality check because even though we were separated for that time period, I saw the effect that it had on our son.
Yes.
And again, then it hit me personally. Is that what I wanted him to be seeing? Or
Sure.
and it was not that.
Yeah.
So I had to look in the mirror and say, where was I wrong in this situation? And how can I better improve? Not that I'm looking at you, because often in marriage, man, like people point the finger at the other person. You got to do your part and say, okay, where did I play a part in this?
Yeah.
What did I do that I can change and let the chips fall where they fall? I honestly feel that if people change themselves in a marriage, not only will it rub off on the other person, but the other person will get to see, okay, over time or however long that takes, I recognize change in this person and it works out for the benefit. You can only do that. You can't force somebody else to change.
Yeah.
You got to change yourself first.
You have to.
You got to change yourself and just that's it.
That's exactly what Let Them is saying.
Okay.
That's exactly it. But there's lots of other points in there that kind of reinforces that.
Yeah.
But it is exactly that. Little side note, I'm always in his ear about what he's eating and different kinds of foods and trying to eat healthier or maybe not so many cocktails or this, that, and the other. And it annoys him. I do it because I care about his health, but I need to back down and just lead by example. And there was a minute where I was not drinking because I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. But then I'm like, I'm just going to have one drink. So anyway, the book is reminding me that I just have to let him, because I'm not going to change him. He has to. Our son has always been our glue. And he's always been at the forefront of every single decision that we've made in terms of our relationship. And while that, this is just my experience, while that kept us together, there were periods, plenty of periods, where we were together, but not really together, right? We were living and going through the motions and cohabitating. For that, we had to fight to get to a place where we were like, okay, we like each other.
But those are the ups and downs, though.
Yes.
Like you go in and out of phases. The longer
Sure, definitely phases.
It's like with anything else. That's life. It relates to other things. Other than marriage, you could say for your job, for example, you at your job for 20 years, guess what? You're going through the motions, doing whatever it is. It's not really that fun at times. And it's your job, though, right? Yeah. And you don't quit. You still working, but it relates to a lot of stuff. So it really comes down to those human interactions and learning people and just what you learn growing up and mature. You got to be able to handle that. You got to be able to show the responsibility. You got to be able to
be committed to being committed.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Like that's the bottom line, is that you're just committed to making this work. And I think, I wonder, and maybe you can answer this too, because I wonder when I hear about people who have gone through divorce or decided to divorce, especially after they've been together for 15, 20, because for me, it was like, once you get past 10 years, it's like, it should be all a breeze for the most part, right? Like all of the silly shit about infidelities or interest in other people or staying out too late or drinking and like all of the young stuff, to me, you get over that hump.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes just a personality thing. You adapt, you learn each other's personalities. And like you said, you just learn to let people be people. And then you might have an occasional spat about something that you can.
But also too, people with multiple kids. And we only had one.
Yeah.
But those with multiple kids spend even more time at events for kids all the way through high school. Next thing you know, kids are moved out, they go to college, they do whatever, out of the house. And then you got to relearn your partner again. Because it's like for the last 18 years, we've been running around with kids doing all of that.
Who
We
are
got 3,
we
4
as a
kids,
couple?
right? So again, that's a phase that we didn't have to do because we didn't have multiple kids and
Well, we only
an
had to do
extended.
it once.
You're right, but there is something in everybody's relationship long term that are similar and stuff like that. You got to adapt. And you got to be real with the punches.
My point that I was going to make, though, was that I wonder if people don't give themselves enough time to get through those things. I think people might make the decision prematurely because they're in the thick of the mess and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just not going to do it and live my life like this. When really, it doesn't have to be your entire life. It could just be a period, but you didn't
Right.
work through that because the next person is likely to be something, you know what I mean? But like day to day stuff, getting along with people, you get on my nerves, you do something that I don't like, you don't clean up, whatever, those little regular things, like those to me, you're gonna be dealing with something no matter who you're with.
Yes.
But aside from that, it's go take a walk, go take a breather because you got on my nerves, or say what you gotta say. I'm not very good at this because I get an attitude and I get an attitude for a minute. I'm trying to do better at that. But to me, those are things that you could work through, and you can't just decide he gets on my nerves, he doesn't do X or she doesn't do X, that you're like, he's not for me. I think I would appreciate a time frame for which you get married and you could exercise an exit, because sometimes people don't leave unhealthy situations because of the length of time that it takes to go through a divorce, the mental, emotional challenges that come with that, the cost of that. So if you can pre-plan for that and have that in place at the beginning and you come back together, and I think it's a good opportunity for a couple to come back and have a real conversation. Where are you at? How are you feeling with this? Are you, I don't want to say in love, because to me that's comes and goes, but I think it's a good time to reflect, checkpoints. I remember reading something where somebody said that she and her husband do it every year, where they just check in. Where are we at? What's our goal for the year? Financially, emotionally, with each other. They're writing it down like their vision boards, and they're incorporating that in their annual thing. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good practice. But that planning ahead, or that contractual thing, I think might be a good idea. I might have been the one, because I feel like when we were going through it while our son was extremely important and I was so mindful and hurtful of those things, there might have been a period around that time where I'd have been,
I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah, glad we're here now. Salute.
You gotta get your glass and salute that.
So anyway, have you ever started something, quit, and then came back to it?
Yes.
And I just raised this question because we started this and we were like, let's go. And then we kind of, it was just, we didn't really quit.
Pause. But I've done that with a few jobs, really. Network marketing, for example. Started it, gave it a shot while I'm working full-time doing other things, quit, went back to it with another company, stopped doing that, and here I am. So I think you have to try things to see if you're going to be good at it. Not everything that you try you should continue to do. Do it until you realize, you know what, this isn't me, right? And I did network marketing a couple times just to see, same concept on how you get paid, different product, but that whole how it flows and how it works. Shout out to those people who are successful at it, but at the time it just wasn't for me. So that's just one example off the top of the head that started something and then quit.
I got a little situation going on right now that I started a few months ago that I'm considering quitting, but it's just something that I decided that I'm spending not a lot of hours doing it. When I do, it's about 4 hours of my day, and it's about 4 hours of my day in times where I likely prefer be doing something else, be it walking around the park or sleeping in or hanging out, exploring something, or traveling. And so it puts a restriction on my time that I don't necessarily appreciate. I enjoy it while I'm there, but I want more freedom and flexibility, especially in this stage in my life. I just feel a bit contained or constrained, and I don't want that in my life right now. So I'm considering quitting it as we speak. But aside from this most recent little thing that I recently challenged myself with, I just want to spend my time in spaces and with people doing things that I enjoy doing. And sometimes that could even be nothing at all. And that's just really where I'm at. And then the things that I don't mind doing, I want to do it at my leisure, not at somebody telling me that I need to be there.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So anyway, that does it.
There it is, folks. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, we back. You should see something weekly. And
That's the
again,
goal.
jump in the comment section, no matter what platform you see this on.
Yes.
Whether you see it from a Facebook, from one of our Facebook pages, or if you're on Substack, you see it on Substack. If you listen to it on YouTube, all of the things, right? All of the different spots.
Share, and subscribe.
Definitely
and
do that.
comment. I want to be interactive. I want to know what's happening in your lives, what we've said that maybe hit home for you, and maybe how you've managed things or worked through things. We want to hear from you, not just from the phone calls, because sometimes we've gotten phone calls and we appreciate the phone calls, but we want to interact here as well. That will help us a lot. So thanks for watching.
Be affiliated, affiliatedwear.com.
Peace.
Peace.